everybody. It is Romania Black. Oh my gosh. Hello. I hope you all are doing really good today. Hello. Yes. I'm sorry. I originally wanted this to come on at 10 a.m. and about an hour ago, my power went out. And so I was actually in the middle of a reaction and my power went out and I was like, crap. So luckily it was for a manga reaction, so I could start over and pick up where I left off at, and it didn't spoil anything. But whenever my power goes out, it's happened before. My recording, it will keep the recording. Luckily, it'll save it, but it won't let me save the recording, which is frustrating. So I have to go back, record the recording to get it saved, and it's the stupidest thing. But I did that right before this live stream so I could have that part saved. And so luckily, and of course Huckleberry wants me to throw this toy while I talk to you all. Luckily, I got it saved, so we're all good, and I can start talking about Old Death Parade and anime onlys and Ice Adolescence and all this fun stuff with y'all for about an hour and a half, however long we take, right? To talk about this series. So hello. Yes. Did you know Star? Absolutely. We are going to talk a little bit about anime only series, but definitely Death Parade. So there will be spoilers. So definitely feel free to come back to this live stream when you're finished. We'll talk a little bit about Death Parade. I want to talk about anime only stuff as well, because I feel like this finishing Death Parade kind of goes along with this series as well. But I'm glad you made it. Yes. We can talk about anime only stuff first before we dive into Death Parade, because I want to kind of save the entirety of Death Parade for a big discussion and have questions at the end. So we can kind of go ahead while everybody's getting here with the chat, talk about anime only stuff first. The reason why is that, one, I know a lot of people haven't watched Death Parade, and so I wanted to kind of save it to the end to talk about it. Yes, please stick around. And then so I'm going to save Death Parade kind of for the end, where we can talk about the series as a whole and all of this. Waiting for the Vinland Saga anime only live stream. Oh, see, that's the problem. I usually don't do live streams for series if they're ongoing, because then I feel like, well, we'll talk about stuff and then we'll re-talk about it. So it kind of would make the live stream repetitive. So, but yeah, and it would be like a 3-hour live stream, right? So I'm going to hold off on that one, right, for a little bit, kind of like a couple other series I'm watching that are ongoing. They would just be so long, right? But anime onlys, I honestly love anime only series. I'm watching Link Click right now, which is donghua only, and I absolutely love series like that. And the reason why is for a lot of reasons, and you guys can chime into the chat, but there's lots of reasons to love anime only series. One, the creativity of it, the idea that the creators can be so creative and do pretty much whatever they want. There's a lot of freedom with those series, especially like content wise. Like when a series is animated and adapted from a manga, usually that manga has certain restrictions, like content, what we can show, shipping wise, things like that, which I love. And so anime only series can kind of get away with a lot, like Skate the Infinity. If you all have seen Skate the Infinity, there's a lot of stuff they can get away with because they're like, oh, we're just anime only. There's no content we're basing this off of. Shipping, subtext, we can do whatever we want. And I love that about those series. Same with Link Click. Link Click, yes, season 2 just came out. My reaction to episode 1 is on Patreon. It's going to be out next week on YouTube. And I'm going to finish up the shorts here on YouTube this week. It's love, damn it. That's my favorite phrase coming from Skate the Infinity. It's love, damn it. They can talk about it. They can do whatever they want. It gives so much freedom. And I would say the same thing with Skate the Infinity, with Buddy Daddies. Those two series that I've watched are anime only. They were so much fun. And they were so much fun to talk about with you all in the comments, because they were like, there was no chance of being spoiled. We were just going week to week going, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be fun. So we can talk about it as we go. And that was great, right? We could talk about the pros and cons, things like that. Now, there is, and Shelby, I know you want me to do Vinland Saga, but that is my big fear, is that someone will spoil it to me in the chat. There's just too much risk. I can't do it. I had a Jujutsu Kaisen stream way back when, along with Slam Dunk, talking about it, only because, like, it was just, at the time, but I watched so many series that are ongoing. I would be doing so many live streams, and not that I don't want to do a live stream, but there's just so much going on, right? And this summer I had the extra time to do all these live streams, so it kind of worked. But yeah, there's so much that we can talk about in the comments with Vinland Saga and stuff like that. I just can't risk spoilers. When you're anime only as a reactor, it's too hard, right? It's just so hard. You never know who wants to spoil. Yeah, there's been so much spoilage. If I didn't have moderators, like I have a moderator in the chats now too, because I'm so afraid that I'm glad the channel's gotten bigger, and I'm really excited about that. I love talking with more people about these shows because I have no one to talk about anime with except my brother, and we have very different tastes. So a lot of the series that I'm watching, he is not. And so, like, I've been asking him, for example, to watch Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm like, have you watched the 2 new episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen? He's like, no, not yet. And I'm like, So it's too much of a risk. And while I like my channel getting bigger, it's exciting. It's made it a lot harder to avoid spoilers. And I know a lot of creators don't necessarily, interact with people, on their channels because they're afraid of that. And so I'm trying to like toe the line as much as I can. Hello, Harry Duck. Hi. What a great handle. I love it. So, but yes, Sunray, to look at the chat, I have heard there's a new Black Butler season coming out. I'm super excited. I did watch the first 2 seasons of Black Butler. Didn't like the second season because that's an example of why anime only is also so much fun. Because like with Black Butler, to not spoil it for anybody, itself off the manga, it was pretty much anime original in a sense. But the problem is, anime original, it doesn't match up with the manga. It's not good. And so I don't like the second season. I know a lot of people do like it. I don't. So it was non-canon. I'm excited by them reinvigorating the anime because I'm like, oh, cool, we'll get to pick up. I read the manga for a little while, and then I stopped when I was in college because I got too busy and was doing other things, and I just never picked it back up. So I will be excited if Black Butler gets on a poll or something. It would be cool to go back, do a review of season 1 and season 2. I haven't watched the Atlantic movie, so that would be fun. And then pick up where the anime is going to pick up at. That would be really exciting. I'm all for it if it happens, right? Any plans on adding your reactions on YouTube along with discussions? Along with your discussions. What do you mean, Shelby? Do you mean putting them in the actual videos? I did that once before, lost my channel, so I'm not doing that again. No, I feel like here's my thing. Here's my thing with that, because I think I know what you're talking about, because I know some reactors do like in video things with that. How they don't get flagged, I don't know, because I would get flagged instantly if I did that, and I have before. I do have links to the reactions. You just got to click a link. I don't know why this is hard for people. It baffles me. I'm like, when people are like, oh, just put it in your videos, I'm like, just click the link. I'm like, it's not difficult. It just takes you to a different site. I don't understand. And I don't like timers. I know I'm using timers for some of my series because I'm using them with series that are very aggressive with copyright. And so like Cloverworks, like Aniplex, like, there's another studio, but like Millionaire Detective is with that as well. And I have to be careful. Like if I do Bleach, I will have to do a timer because that studio is so against reactions that I just don't have a choice for those. But I try to be as awesome as I can be for y'all. But I just have to do what I got to do to keep my channel. And that's all there is to it. Like I feel like my work is transformative because of the length of discussion and the depth that I go into. I feel like because I talk during the reactions and everything, that there is enough content there to make it transformative, but you just got to do what you got to do. Right. Where's the link? Yeah. I was just like, it's there. But yeah, Vanitas, I know Vanitas is a series that I was told that is one of those that the studio cracks down really hard on, and I just can't risk it, y'all. If you want my channel, that's what I got to do what I got to do. So it's one of those situations where if you want the content, you just got to work with what I got to work with, and that's all there is to it. The Spy Family movie teaser. No, I have not seen the movie teaser because a Spy Family, the movie, is not going to be on Crunchyroll for so long. It's going to be like years. that I'm not even worried about it right now because it's going to be so long. Anytime a movie comes out, I'm just like, we don't talk about Spy Family for reasons. I mean, AJ, there are reasons, but I'm not worried about it right now. You're not out of the loop, did you, Novastar? Basically, to catch you all up to speed, I talked about it a little bit in the last live stream. Someone tried to spoil me hardcore with Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man spoilers because they were mad that they thought I was dissing Spy Family in my Buddy Daddy's video. But I'm like, I wasn't dissing Spy Family. I was just pointing out my own critiques of it. I still like the series. I still would kind of want to watch it. But they were so, like, they went to my Twitter to try to spoil me. They went to my anime list, try to spoil me. They went on to basically anywhere they could find me trying to spoil me. It was almost stalkerish. It was kind of creepy, and I didn't like it. And luckily, they're out of the picture now. They've moved on to troll other people. But at the time, I was like, you're just making me not want to watch Spy Family because you're being so awful. So basically, yeah, very much a creep, Harry. But so I'm like, I'm not really even, Spy Family is like so far away. I'm like, it is what it is. But the movie, I'm not even worried about it right now because it'll be years before I see it. Very weird. Hello, Brian. Hello. Yeah, it's like, I understand that when you watch a reactor, you want someone you're watching them because you want to feel the same emotions kind of that they feel. And I watch some reactors too. And I like that too. Like you want to see how they're going to react to a scene. But it's one thing, like I ship a lot in my videos and I don't expect people to ship the same way I ship. That's another thing with Vanitas. People have like started to come out on Twitter being like, well, your ship's wrong. And I'm like, no ships are wrong, right? It's a fictional story. We can all like who we like. But, and I don't have a problem with people disagreeing in the comments, but it's like, you don't take it personally. It's not personal. It's just drag, it's not anything crazy. It's just, our opinions and you don't have to agree with them. It's totally fine. Right. Let me go back up to the chat. Yes, Link Click season 2 is coming out, and I am watching it. Ifat, see, episode 1 is on Patreon right now. It'll be out on YouTube next Monday. I always do things a week ahead on Patreon, then I do YouTube. But yes, let them be gay. Like, love is love, damn it. Have I watched season 2, episode 1 and 2 of Link Click? Yes, I have, but because of scheduling, I was telling everybody on Patreon, it was going to be one of those weird things, and we get back to the donghua only part of it. It was going to be one of those weird things where I was eventually going to have to like skip a week because of my schedule, but this works out really good that they release 2 episodes at once. So I'm only going to do episode 1 next Monday. I'm doing it 1 episode at a time because that's what my schedule allows for me, but it is going to work. I'm watching it on Crunchyroll because I have a subscription to Crunchyroll and it is the most accessible. I like Bilibili, but I'm like, I didn't want to pay for an extra subscription for Bilibili. So that was it. But it is on both. And I know there's some differences in the translations, and I'm all about people in the comments being like, well, Bilibili translates it this way, Crunchyroll translates it that way. I find that fascinating, and I think that'd be cool to talk about. But yeah. Shelby, to answer your question of when Attack on Titan is coming out, I'm doing the manga reactions right now. Whenever I am caught up with the manga to part 4, act 1 of season 4, part 3, act 1, then I'll watch it. But I'm not watching the anime until I'm caught up with the manga to that point. And then my hope is by that time, my goal all along was to have the final parts of Attack on Titan, all of it together, and I could watch it back to back. That's my goal. But it's going to be probably November when I get to the final parts, which hopefully will be about the time that the last part comes out so I can watch it all together. That's my goal. But yeah, that's my goal there. And then my dog has like given me his toy. Hold on, I got to find it. There we go. Yep. He's being relentless. I swear, like while I was prepping this, I played with him nonstop, but all he does is play. That's like his whole MO. No, it's not later. I like Attack on Titan, but I find it an overload. Yeah, it's a lot. Attack on Titan is a thing. You gotta it's an acquired taste for sure. No, I absolutely get where you're coming from with that. And you'll have to excuse Ruby and Huckleberry. They're at my feet, barking nonstop. But with anime onlys, we talk about, Skate the Infinity is one I've watched. Link Click I'm watching right now for donghua only. And then I've also watched Buddy Daddies. I think those are the 3 main ones. And then Yuri on Ice, which can we talk about Yuri on Ice for a hot second? Can I take a sip of tea and get my mind together for that? before we dive into that, Harry Duck, How You Live. I've heard there's some controversy around that movie from Studio Ghibli, but I will, if it comes out on streaming, I would love to watch it. Oh, did you know, Star? Oh, did you know, Star? About Yuri on Ice. We might as well talk about it. Hey, everybody's showing up at the right time as we're going to diss on Yuri on Ice and Mappa for a hot second before we talk about Death Parade. Let's just talk about it. So yes, Kiwani should do Yuri on Ice. So did you know, Star? Basically, what was going on with Yuri on Ice's whole deal was that you all know Yuri on Ice if you've watched it. Back in 2017, I think, Mappa had planned there was going to be a movie, and we debated whether it was going to be a prequel or a sequel or a combination of both. Yuri on Ice was just an amazing anime-only series that I love. It put Mappa on the map. It and Banana Fish are like staples of Mappa, I would say. They made Mappa what they are today, Banana Fish and Yuri on Ice. But Yuri on Ice was a big success among fans at the time. And so in 2017, they said they were going to do a movie, Ice Adolescence. I remember when the trailers were coming out, I was so excited. I think I reacted to the trailer on here because I was so excited about it. I was like, oh my God, yes. In 2020, they had a teaser. It was right around the time of COVID. And when quarantine was happening, they put out that teaser trailer. I reacted to it and was so excited for it. And then they just kind of dropped off the map. Didn't really talk about it. My thing is they announced it coming out in 2017. Then 3 years later, they made a teaser trailer. Like they still had it on the books. They were still going to do it. And people got excited, like, okay, cool. And then it just kind of dropped off. And there, about a few days ago, Mappa, there was an interview that came out with the new CEO of Mappa, and he was talking about projects. And I suppose Yuri on Ice, Ice Adolescence, the movie got brought up. And so when the Mappa CEO, he heard about the movie being brought up and was like, oh, well, Yuri on Ice, it was really popular at the time, but it's not really been a commercial success for us and it's not making us any money. So we're probably not going to do anything with it. And just dropped it. And I was like, wait, what? So basically the Mappa CEO said, well, since Yuri on Ice isn't making us money, we're probably not going to do anything with the movie. And I was so frustrated because, we were talking about this in the Discord chat. I mean, we were talking about it in the Discord chat that, it's not fair to the artist, because I think there's been a lot of fandom get mad at the artists, and that should not happen. The artists are just doing their job. They have a passion project. They're just doing what they're getting paid to do. My frustration is with the CEO basically saying, oh, this thing that kind of made us, well, it's not really lucrative, so I guess we're probably not going to continue with it. And my thing is, like, Amy, it's popular. Like, I was thinking, the series is so popular. How could you not? What? And my thing of it is, I know some people on Twitter were saying, oh, well, it's because they don't want to support something that's LGBT, because Yuri on Ice is very much LGBT. It's not subtext, it's text. But here's my thing. Have you watched Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 so far? Have you seen Gojo and Geto? There ain't much subtext there, my friends. I was like, so that's not it. I don't think that's it at all. I'm like, no. I don't think that that's the reason. I honestly think that Mappa does not want to admit two things. They don't want to admit, one, that they've taken on way too many projects. Their plate is way too full. They've taken on too many projects to get completed in the time frame that they want to. They're trying to be Disney and take on the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe all at once. They don't want to admit that they can't do it. So they're like, oh, well, we've not got Yuri on Ice Adolescence because of this money thing. But the reality is they don't have time. And they're trying to prioritize and keep ahead with the trends and what's trendy. And Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen are trendy. So we're going to keep with those. That's the reason. Number one. Two, I think the other reason is that they don't pay their animators enough. They treat them in poor conditions. They're overworking them. And they just can't admit that. And say they just don't want to, they can't admit that their animators are so overworked right now, they physically cannot take on Ice Adolescence. I think that that's the two things. They've taken on too much stuff and they're not treating their animators properly. And they don't want to come out and say that because that'll make them look awful. So instead, they're just like, oh, well, Ice Adolescence wasn't lucrative. So that's why it's on the back burner. I'm like, I'm sorry, I've not watched it yet, but you just approved season 2 of Hell's Paradise. I'm just saying, if you're talking about things being lucrative, I've not heard great things. I've not watched it, but I've not heard great things. So I'm like, I'm gonna call BS and say that you just don't want to, you don't want to admit that you're overworking your staff and you don't have time to do all these projects. But it's so frustrating as someone that really likes Yuri on Ice, because you mean to tell me you've had this on your books for 5 years and you can't get it completed, so you're just going to drop it? It's so unfair. It's like you've made a promise to your customers, to your fans, to the consumer base, and then butterscotch. Yes, I call butterscotch. I'm going to use that from now on, Harry Duck. I just feel like if you're not going to take the time to do it, then give it to somebody else. Like, put it on the free market, make it open source. Be like, anybody else want to take this? Anybody else want to take Yuri on Ice? Y'all want to take it? Want to go with it? I joke KyoAni because I feel like Kyoto Animation, they would be amazing. Could you imagine? Could you imagine Yuri on Ice in KyoAni's hands? Every strand of Victor's hair, every lash on his eye, every fleck of light in his and Yuri's eyes would be perfectly animated. It's ice is frozen water, and KyoAni handles water. So it'd just be like, the ice skating rink would be the most realistic, glorious thing you've ever seen in your life. Like, could you imagine? I think, like, just give them what you've got, Mappa. Just give KyoAni or Bones, one of the two, give them what you got. Say, I want them to give us a straightforward, we are abandoning this project, so give it to somebody else. Or we just are overworked and overstaffed with projects and we don't have time, but we'll get to it someday. I'm like, just be honest with us at this point, right? You know, I feel like it's such a letdown. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to write them. I'm going to email them. I'm going to email Q. I'm going to email Mappa. I know, here's my thing. I feel like, because a lot of people were like, oh, well, just, you know, why are you getting so worked up about it? I'm like, silence is deadly. Anytime there's something, I'm like, if you got to protest it. Anytime there's something, if you are silent about it, nothing will change. And so I feel like if you are in Japan, write letters to Mappa. If you're in Japan, write letters to Mappa, tell them how stupid this is. Go ahead and finish the damn movie. If you're not in Japan and you don't want to pay postage, then just email the hell out of them. Spam them with emails and be like, why aren't you doing the Yuri on Ice movie? I'm like, if millions of people just send them not doing this, maybe somewhere, oh, wow, there's actually a fan base for this that could give us some money. Maybe we should do, we sold this many Blu-rays, we've sold this much merchandise. And that is the downside of anime only projects, because if it's anime only, all you have is the show itself and any merchandise you create off of it. Which, not to say that you can't do it. I mean, look at, you know, Skate the Infinity, look at Free, look at the anime only series there that were created. I know Free was created from a book, but the book was created from a contest that KyoAni made. So it's kind of self-created. But I mean, look at all the merchandise they've made for that series. That's insane. But I feel like what they're looking at, anime only series kind of have an uphill battle because they have to make their own merchandise and their own hype. Whereas you take something like Chainsaw Man, something like Jujutsu Kaisen that already has a manga, already previously had a merchandise base and a foundation, all they have to do is build off of it. And it kind of sucks because it's sort of like, it just gets rid of creativity in a lot of ways. I feel like anime only series are such a creative venture because it requires the studio, it requires the writers to all work together as a collaborative effort to create this project. And I feel like it's more successful. I feel like Buddy Daddy, Skate the Infinity, Link Click, I think all those series, because they've been such collaborative efforts between the studios and the creators, they've been successful. Same with Yuri on Ice. But when you have an adaptation, there is a corporate sheen on it, right? When they animate, when they adapt it from the anime, there's like a corporate sheen, and they don't have to be as connected with the mangaka as an anime only. But yes, yeah, Star, Escape the Infinity, it was anime original. It did have a manga created based off of it, but then quarantine kind of limited it. But yeah, it was anime original. So I feel like with those series, and I think The Great Pretender, that's another one I've watched that was anime original. They started a manga based off of it as well. Yeah. I just, it's so sad. So I'm going to email Mappa and be like, here's this American girl who's really upset that you're not adapting and finishing this movie you promised me for the last 5 years. So get on it. And hopefully, I hope other people just spam them. I hope that we just spam their emails, be like, what are you doing? And just because that's the only way that a studio is going to pay attention is numbers and money, unfortunately. And I get it. You've got a studio to run, you've got money to make, sure. But I don't think it should come at the cost of the well-being of the animators that are doing the work for you. Right. I'm always kind of against administration and upper echelons of CEOs because I'm like, they make all this money, but they do it off the backbones of people that do things for them. So I'm just like, sticking to the man, right? It's so sad, but I wanted to rant about Yuri on Ice. So I'm sorry I've taken up like 10 minutes of this live stream about Death Parade to talk about Yuri on Ice. But it's so frustrating. So yeah, I'd say if you've not emailed Mappa and spammed them, let's do it. I'll put out a tweet and be like, let's just piss them off and tell them how stupid they are for abandoning this project, because it's just it's so disheartening. Mm-hmm. So disheartening. So I'm going to go here to the chat for a second and just see what we get here. Yeah, quality over quantity. And I definitely think that like KyoAni, they're known for doing like 1 or 2 projects at a time. And you can tell the proof is in the pudding. The quality is there, right? Amy, I don't believe, let me pull up that actual tweet. Let me pull up the tweet with the creator and kind of show y'all what I'm deriving off of. Let me see here. Let me find that tweet here and go back to it and read it to you all and just kind of pull it up beside y'all and see in the chat here as we get up here. Because I know Amy's brought this up. I want to pull up this tweet and just kind of show what we're doing it here and read to you all exactly what the deal was. Because I think it was the implication. So the CEO, let me see here. It says the CEO, Mappa CEO, Manabu Otsuka, mentioned Yuri on Ice in a recent interview with Compass. He said, Yuri on Ice is produced by our company, turned out to be a big hit, but compared to the results, the amount of money coming into the studio was insignificant. I'm like, insignificant? I'm like, if it's a big hit, how's it insignificant? What does that mean? And then he said, hit titles cannot be produced under control. So unless we take full advantage of the limited opportunities we have, we will not be able to grow as a company. So basically what he's saying is that, he's hinting around that, well, we only need to focus on the things that are making us money, and Yuri on Ice isn't making us money, so we're not focusing on it. Now, I hope that means that they've not abandoned it entirely, but what it means is like, he's basically saying, shut up and quit asking about it because we're not focused on it right now. So he's basically saying we're prioritizing Attack on Titan, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Vinland Saga, because they are our money makers, and we're not going to talk about the movie right now. So yes, so Anne and Amy, to answer your question, he didn't say they were abandoning it, but he basically was doing like a shut up moment of being like, quit asking about it because we're not focusing on it. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm glad you are prioritizing, but at the same time, you took on this before all these other projects. Maybe before you, and they're talking about taking on more. So like Hell's Paradise, like movie stuff. I'm like, maybe before doing that, finish what you started. I feel like that's my whole thing, is that they have a good fan base, and that I'm with Diginova Star. Are they really having a shortage of money? Are they really? I'm like, they're getting merchandising rights from Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan, Chainsaw Man. They sell a lot of merchandise for those series. I'm like, and then genre, Morales, I do think that genre plays a part in it, because Mappa, I feel like, KyoAni, when you watch a KyoAni show, you kind of know what you're getting into. You know the vibe that most of those shows have. And with Mappa, they are starting to go more towards this harder shonen route. And Yuri on Ice is not a shonen, for sure. But at the same time, that's why I'm kind of like, why don't you just say it? I'm kind of like, you're just skirting around the edge. Just say that you don't want Yuri on Ice anymore. Give it to somebody who'll take it and run with it, KyoAni. and then just abandon it. Just go on your merry way. If you don't want, it almost feels like they're doing like a little Disney vault around Yuri on Ice. It feels like they have Yuri on Ice in a chokehold. They don't want to give it to anybody else because they don't want to admit that it is a big hit. It could make them money, but at the same time, they don't want to give it up because they're greedy. They're basically being greedy. They're like, we don't want to give this up because we could make money off of it, but it's not a priority, so we're just going to hold on to it. Like, it's like they just don't want to sell it. They want to be greedy and hold on to it and hold on to the rights, not give it to anybody else, because what if they give it to somebody else and then they make money off of it? Heaven forbid someone else make money off a property we own. And then they'll look stupid because they'll be like, wow, remember when Mappa had Yuri on Ice and gave it to somebody else and they made so much money off of it? That's what I see. Omaru, I'm sorry. You've not missed anything on Death Parade. I've been holding off because I knew once I started with Death Parade, a lot of people wouldn't be able to watch because they've not seen Death Parade. So I'm saving it for the latter part of the discussion, right? We're almost there. So you've arrived just in time. But yeah, the Committee on Yuri on Ice was filled with a total of 8 producers, out of which Mappa was listed as the last one. They were to receive the least profits. So again, that's what's so frustrating, Shelby, is I'm like, it's so stupid though. I'm like, they're just basically doing a chokehold on the series because they're greedy and they don't want to give up the rights to anybody else. But I'm like, if you're so worried about profit, then just let it go and just move on with the stuff you're making money. I hate that they are hindering progress because of greed. That's my biggest thing. I'm like, if you're so worried about profit, either get more of a stake in it, buy more of it and make it your own, so then you'll get more profit, or sell it and get out. I'm like, it's so frustrating. And that's why are the other producers okay with what Mappa's doing? That's a big question, Devilesk. I don't know. Unless maybe the other producers are scared of Mappa. Mappa's a huge company. They're like one of the biggest animation studios. So I don't know if it's just the pressure. I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe, and this is kind of the weird balance of it all. And this is what makes it also so frustrating, is that Mappa has such power that the other studios are probably like, oh, well, if we take it on and it fails, then we go under. What do we do? So I feel like unless a big studio has to take, I feel like one of two things either has to happen. Mappa just needs to let it go, or they need to do something, or a studio that has enough prowess, like I use Kiwani because they're the ones I think of, needs to just get the license. And yeah, like Sunspot says, licensing agreements, they are so complicated. You can look at like Spider-Man with Sony and Marvel. There's like, when Sony had the rights to Spider-Man, when they had the rights completely, there was like only like, I think of with Spider-Man, they could show Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch, but they couldn't call them Wanda and whatever the Quicksilver's name is, because that name was owned by Marvel, but not Sony. But this property was Sony, but not Marvel's. It's stupid. It's all really stupid, right? So I agree, Amy. It is sad that Kiwani usually just makes anime from their light novel competitions. I don't blame them, because again, that means that Kiwani kind of owns, it's all anime original. They own the entire property. They don't have to worry about licensing. They don't have to worry about dealing with other people. They can just make their own stuff. It's all their own profit and move on. And that's probably why they're so successful, is because they're like, we just make our own stuff and we do it well. So good here. So they probably would not take on Yuri on Ice because of the licensing, especially if there's 7 other production companies involved. It's just very frustrating. Yeah, right. I love the wiki section as a section on Mappa criticism. I have a lot of problems with Mappa. I think the artwork they do and the stuff they put out is beautiful, but in a lot of ways, but the overworking of their staff and the conditions by which Mappa organizes and does things, it is very problematic to me. Oh no. And today is the Memorial Day of the tragic incident at Kiwani. That is really sad. That is another testament to that studio, to go through the fire and everything involved and to be able to pull through and be as good as they are. I think is a testament to that studio. Beautiful, but at what cost? Exactly. That's the name of the game, right? It's great, but at what price? Okay. I like what they have variety. I would say no studio studio is without criticism, right? Because I could criticize Wit for some things and whatever. I feel like no studio is without criticism. I feel like a lot of studios take risks though. And I feel like the ones that have taken on anime only series and run with them, I feel like they've been very successful and I like it. So I would say Link Click is probably the most dynamic thing that is donghua / anime original that I've watched in a long time. It is so good. If you're not watching Link Click, you should be because it's so great. I love it so much. It's like the closest thing to a horror series I'm probably going to watch on this channel, but it's got mystery and intrigue and there's shipping elements. There's lots of fun stuff. It's great. Mappa is superior in directing, in my opinion. They're great. Like I said, Mappa does a lot of things good in terms of the animation and the result product. It's just the means by which they do so are a bit questionable. But yeah, Link Click for the win. I'm super excited for it. I'm glad it's back. I'm really hyped about it. The one thing about Link Click that I've kind of talked about, because normally with anime original series like Death Parade, like Skate the Infinity, like the other series, is that you can't really be spoiled because there's no outside material. With Link Click, I've realized with these 2 episodes, I'm going to have to be very careful. And I've told Discord that today because some people in the Discord were talking about like promotional material and stuff. I don't watch promotional material going into a series. And a lot of people ask, they're like, oh, watch trailers and stuff like that. And sometimes if it's a series I'm really hyped for, and it's a long time before the next season comes out, I'll watch a trailer for it. Like I watched the trailer for Link Click season 2 back in November of last year because I knew it was going to be a while before it came out and I wanted something to like go off of. But I don't usually leading to a series watch the promotional material or the new trailers or previews blind. And I thought I was going to be able to do that with Link Click, but apparently the Link Click people, and I get why they do it because, you know, you're building up the hype, the discussion, things like that. They put some stuff in their promotional material that I would think is kind of spoilery. Like they put in some character reveals in the promotional material that I don't, you know, I want to be surprised when I watch the episode. I want to see that character for the first time and go, oh, this is new. So I don't do that. And yeah, they kind of spoil the plot. And I like Did You Nova Star says, I like to be blind going in as well. So I would say that I've been trying to avoid that. So that is my one thing with Link Click this season is I'm only going to be basing discussion on what we know as the audience from the episodes. I'm not going off of the promos or the extra interviews or stuff. I definitely want to know at the end. Like I think for episode 3 of Link Click, I'm going to try to do an analysis of the OP lyrics because someone sent the OP lyrics. But I don't want to know too much. I want to kind of be able to theorize and have fun with that. And you guys can have fun watching me be wrong, be completely wrong about many things. So yeah. But yeah, so it just depends. But yeah, so that's kind of where I go with that. How you live. Oh my God. It's one of those things where I feel like the only thing keeping me sane, avoiding spoilers, is that there's enough shows I watch. I'm never bored. I always have enough stuff to keep me occupied that I don't feel the need to go look up the spoilers. Yeah. The keyword is supposed. Yeah. Well, and I feel like that's the kind of the same way with OPs. It depends on the series. Like Tony Simi said, you know, a series like Bleach back in the day, if you watched the Bleach OPs, you knew what was going to happen the entire season. It spoiled everything. It told you everything that was going to happen. And you're just like, well, glad I'm a manga reader because I'm not going to be surprised. But then there are other series that the OP, you know, has nothing to do with the series. Like Death Parade. Death Parade's OP has nothing to do with the series. There are no spoilers. You just watch it and you're like, well, this is real fun. And that's pretty much it. And then also there's some series that have what I call context spoilers. And those are probably my favorite. And those are series where you can watch the OP. It's a lot of imagery. I feel like Link Click is one of them. It's a lot of imagery, but until you actually get into the episodes and things are revealed, you won't know it's a spoiler until you see it happen in the episode. And then you're like, oh, it was like that from the start. Cool. But yeah, those are the best. I love those. And then, yeah, or series without OPs. Man, whenever an anime decides to not have an OP, you know that episode is going to go hard balls to the walls when you're like, oh, there's no OP this episode. Oh, no. I would say, yes, Vinland Saga, their OP was exactly that. It was contextual spoilers. Until you got to the episode and figured out what was going on, you were like, oh, that's what it was meaning. Cool, great, nice. But yeah, I feel like OPs and EDs kind of, it's apples and oranges. Some are going to be spoilery, some are not. So usually when I start a series, people on Patreon or the Discord, they'll message me and be like, hey, just so you know, don't watch this OP until such and such episode so you're not spoiled. That's like Attack on Titan, for example, the 4th season. I couldn't watch the OP until a certain point because of the imagery. So yeah. But I love symbolism in OPs, stuff that's like non-contextual, that's just symbolic imagery. I'm all about it. I'm like, yes, please. Sure thing. Give me some Neon Genesis OPs up in here, right? So I feel like at this point, we should probably talk about Death Parade. We should probably point out, Monster is a great example of it's its own ED, its own OP. But yeah, I feel like we should probably talk about, we're 40 minutes into this and we've not even talked about Death Parade at all. So I feel like I should talk about it, or at least open up to questions, right? To questions that people have about Death Parade. But if you've not watched Death Parade, we are probably going to talk about spoilers. So if you're not sticking around for Death Parade discussion, thanks for joining into this chat and me ranting about anime originals. I'll see y'all on the other side. But if you don't care about spoilers, we can talk about Death Parade and talk about anything else if you want to stick around. But if you have questions about Death Parade, yay. I know Sunspot's like, yay. And Omaru's like, oh, good. We're finally talking about it. But still stuck on your episode 1 reaction. Oh, well, Killer Queen. No. I mean, do you care about spoilers? If not, stick around. But otherwise, I hate spoiling things. I'm so against spoilers. I hate spoiling it for people in the chat that have not seen. So this is your final warning. I am about to talk about Death Parade. There's going to be spoilers, more than likely. So I don't want to spoil like all the major things, because I do want people to watch the series because it's so good. I really enjoyed it. We talk about anime original. But just so you know, going to be talking about Death Parade. I was really excited about this series when I was watching Death Note, and the great thing is, I felt like going into the series the whole time. When I was watching Death Note, people were like, oh, you should watch Death Parade. And they're like, oh yeah, but that's fine. You're here regardless, pro. It's fine. As long as you don't care about a little minor spoilage. When I started it, I was really worried because I didn't know what to think. People were, when I was watching Death Note, they're like, oh, you should watch Death Parade because it's connected. And I was like, how is this going to be connected? And then it was like the tiniest thing. It was like the tiniest connection to the whole series. I was like, oh, okay. When we finally got to the episode where there was the connection to Death Note, I was like, oh, that's it? Oh, cool. All right, never mind. We're great. But I do love this series a lot. I feel like it's so cool to see this series be kind of sprung up out of nowhere, that like all these studios kind of came together and collaborated on it. And it just turned out to be this beautiful short series. It left me very hungry for more. I feel like I could stay in this world forever. I could watch like season after season of this world and just have Deckham as our bartender and have him meet new companions and go on new adventures with them and learn more about himself, learn more about humanity. And I just wanted to keep watching it. I felt like Pro is saying there's so much lore left to explore and questions left to answer. Yes. And I was really afraid going into this series that it was going to end horribly. I honestly thought for the longest time, like when we were getting around episode 7 or 8, I was like, oh, is this going to end like a Shakespearean tragedy? Is everybody going to die? Oculus had me really scared. I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like maybe something bad's going to happen. And I was really, really nervous because I thought it was just going to end with everyone dying. Looking at the chat here, Light Yagami is going to be reincarnated. Our guardian angel. Well, he was sent to the void, wasn't he? Maybe, what if Light came back as an arbiter? Because they established in this that the arbiter's souls come from the people that were sent to the void. What if Light came back as an arbiter? Can you imagine? Like, Light would be terrible as an arbiter. He'd just be like, nope, bye. How would people be judged from other series? That's kind of the crazy thing about this. That's the crazy thing about this, is that we don't know. You know, they leave it kind of, that's sort of the crazy world building part, is that the arbiters get to decide how people are judged, but there's no real rules. They just say, base it off your own judgment. And that's terrifying. Like Ginty, for example, Ginty judges people a lot different than Beckham, and neither of them are said to be right or wrong. It's just the way that world works. Pro Plinkett, Pro Plinkett Pinkest says, it feels like certain things with some characters were intentionally teased and never answered. Yes, I agree. I feel like I wanted more with Clavis. I did listen to the audio drama. I don't know if you all listen to the audio drama as well, but in the audio drama, there is a like suggestion that Nona and him were a ship. And I'm like, when did Nona have a thing for Clavis? I want more with that. What is this? So I definitely want more with Clavis's character because he's kind of like just the messenger that hauls them from elevator to elevator, from floor to floor. And then with Nona and Oculus, I did have a comment on here from Sunspots. I'll get to your comment too on here, but I had a comment about there's like this really cool non-physical altercation between Oculus and Nona at the end, and that there was this acknowledgement that they had these philosophical differences, but it was just never fully resolved. And I thought that was really cool. I love the idea that Nona and Oculus, they are both going to be like in this eternal game of chess. It reminded me of Jack Sparrow and Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean. They're like, we're locked in this epic battle until Judgment Day and trumpets sound, but they're in the afterlife. So what can they do? They're just in this eternal chess game. But Clavis, I loved his character too. But yes, Tony sent me, if you've not listened to the audio drama, it's really good. It's essentially, I won't spoil what it's about, but it's really, really good. Clavis and Nona. In the audio drama, I'm just saying, if you've not listened to the audio drama, go back and listen. The shipping is there. I was eternally surprised by it. I was like, yes, please, give me this ship. I want it so badly. Killer Queen. Most of the time I can't get into shorter series because of stuff like that. Yes. So that is the one thing, we talk about anime originals. I think a lot of people get kind of hesitant because you only have 11 to 12 episodes usually. So you're sitting there the whole time thinking, well, how are 12 episodes? And that was kind of the thing with Death Parade is when we got around episode 10, going, okay, how are we going to end this? Like, I don't want it to end. What are they going to give us like an actual resolution, or is it just going to kind of like be cut off and be a cliffhanger? And no, they gave us a resolution. I would definitely watch a season 2 of Death Parade. I would watch season 2. I would love to see Decim. This whole thing was about Decim's journey to find himself and to realize who he was as a character. I would love to see more Decim and like multiple different partners that he goes on the journey with. Omaru, one thing I found interesting was being reincarnated was considered the good ending, even though it's a 50-50 chance your life could be hell. Yeah, that is kind of the thing. I feel like I wish they didn't imply the void was bad like hell in the penultimate episode. Yeah, there was this idea. I feel like that was why the old man in the one episode was okay with going to the void, was because he was done with life and thought it was the end and was ready to move on. And he wanted to give the other guy a chance to go back and see his family. And so, yeah, the whole thing with the void being, I always felt like a bad vibe with the void. At the best, it was emptiness and nothingness, but depending on who you are, that emptiness or nothingness could be hell. I mean, I guess I like your perspective, Devilis, where it's like, well, there's no suffering there. So if you go back, like Omaru says, and you're reincarnated and you suffer, what's the better scenario? And the only thing that made me feel a little bit better about the void was the fact that there was a chance that you could become an arbiter from the void. So I felt so bad for Mayu and Harada, because I was like, oh, well, what the hell, Ginty? They're going to go to the void now? My only headcanon is maybe Mayu comes back and she's an arbiter. I would like because Mayu was such a cool character. I loved her character a lot, and how she wasn't, when you first met her, you just thought she was ditzy and an airhead. But then the more you get to know her, you're like, no, she just doesn't, she's not restricted by how you think that, how she's not restricted by how the world is supposed to work. She does things how she wants to do things. So yes, Tony Simi, Arbiter Mayu, I would love that. And I would love for her to just like walk up to Ginty's desk and be like, really? just walk up to Hosoya and be like, are you kidding me? What the hell, man? I did wonder that too. With the world building, I did wonder, since the arbiters are made from souls from the void, I kept wondering, if you think about it that way, the arbiters are essentially, people that have done really bad things, or at least in the eyes of other arbiters. So they were sent to the void for a reason. So the fact that they get to kind of come back and they're kind of reincarnated, as these arbiters, but yet they don't get to live, they don't get to die. It's kind of like just this endless cycle. It's kind of crazy. It's a serious, it's like their own punishment in a way, but then it could be viewed as not a punishment, because if you're like Deccan, you get to meet Chiyuki and have this experience, and it is what it is, right? A relative judgment. Let's say Sunspot. Some of that felt like different characters presenting different interpretations of what they thought the void was. Nothing with complete lack of awareness versus the opposite. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing too. The world leaves things so ambiguous in this series, where you can't really tell what is reality and what's not reality. Like what is the truth and what's not, because that's kind of like Oculus and Nona's disagreement in the entire series. They seem to have different ideas of how reality is. And the thing that's kind of cool about the show is it never comes out and preaches to you, and it never says, oh, this is the right answer, this is the wrong answer. It leaves things so gray that we, the audience, have to like just sit there and kind of deduce ourselves. Okay, what do we do with this? How do we determine what is the void? What does it mean? Is reincarnation a good thing or bad thing? Were these people judged right or wrong? And they never come out and tell you that people get reincarnated or go to the void necessarily. You get the mask sometimes, and it changes sometimes. So you just never really know for sure. So it's just, I love that about the series. It leaves it so open to interpretation, and you can have these cool conversations about, okay, well, did this person get reincarnated or did they not? Well, they did because of this, but maybe not because of that. It's just, it's so neat. I love it. Right. So yeah, Sunspots, I will be honest, I did not know what a kundere was until your comment about this series. And I feel like such a dweeb, a person, a character with no emotions that gains emotions on their journey. And that's literally Deccan. That's literally them. Omaru, not making judges as gods was something I appreciated, because that way they don't make judgments as absolutely correct, forcing their ideals on you. Yes, that was a thing too. At no point was Deccan or Ginty treated as like a god. They weren't. They at the most, they're like representative of angels. But even Oculus himself, because at the time when we were first introduced to Oculus, I'm like, oh, is he the god of this world? But no, he's just like a manager. He's like just one rung on the ladder up from everybody else, kind of like Nona. I love it. I love that Oculus is kind of like, he has his own opinions of where the CEO is, but him and Casca or Castra and Nona are not necessarily gods. They're just like higher up managers, right? I like the Dere archetypes. Yes, looking at them through media, I think that's a really cool thing too. The kudere. I'm used to tsundere. I'm used to yandere. The kudere, I'm not as used to, but Deccan, by that description, is definitely one of those. I love the journey he goes on. Like seeing him break down at the end and cry and like hug Chiyuki. Like I was so in love with Deccan and Chiyuki as a ship by the end of this. And it was so bittersweet, because you just know from the start, the moment they say she has a contract, as the audience, you're like, she's going to leave. Something's going to happen to her. And, you try to make these like deals with the devil, and you're like, well, maybe she could become an arbiter, or maybe she could stay. But at the end, she's got to go. And it's so bittersweet, because she finally connects with Deccan, and they have this moment. And there's a part of you that's just like, okay, are they going to say, are they going to say, I love you? Are they going to say it because I wanted them to so badly? And at the end where she's like, just smile, and that's all you can do. And at the end, when he smiles back at her, I'm like, that's the I love you. It was like a Han Solo, Princess Leia moment where she's like, I love you. And he's like, I know. And she's like, goodbye. And he just smiles back, and you just know it. And it's like, so good. Right. The ice skating scene was gorgeous. The whole ice skating scene and her entire story being told without sound and just imagery. Oh, it was beautiful. And then his design with the white hair and one eye visible only. Yep. Oh, okay. I didn't know that was like a type casting, right? The OST, oh my gosh. Yeah, this entire series, like the soundtrack design, the OP was so creative and beautiful. The ED was so symbolic and great. And it was one of those contextual EDs that builds as it goes, and you kind of understand it more and more. And okay, well, here's the thing, Omaru. We think that technically Deckham's like 5 years old. So what you think could be, but he's not human. So it's fine. In arbitrary years, we don't know. She's an adult. I feel like she's an adult. She's in her 20s. So I don't think it's a pedo ship because I think that's only if they're a minor. She's in her 20s. She's a full grown adult. Once you're a full grown adult, age is a number. So you've reached a maturity that it's fine. So I think it's okay. And I think that I feel comfortable shipping Decim and Chiyuki because of where they are both at the story. I think it's fine. I never saw an issue with it. I thought it was perfectly fine. If anything, I think Mayu was the shipping problem because a lot of people ship Ginty and Mayu's still young. She's still like, or at least I don't know if she was a teenager, if she was in her early 20s too, if she was around the same age as Chiyuki. I'm not sure about that. If she's in her teens, I have a problem with it. Oh no. It shows Omaru. It shows that Chiyuki is like, she's in her 20s at least because it shows her going to college and going to school. So no, she's like an adult, a full grown adult. Mayu's the one that I'm not sure about because you can't judge her by liking the idol group because there's people in their 20s that likes. Mayu's a teen. Okay. I wasn't sure either, Tony. I wondered if Mayu was like maybe 15 or 16. If that's the case, then her and Ginty are kind of maybe problematic as a ship, but I don't really, with her and Ginty, I thought they had a really cute friendship, but I don't know if I shipped them together as much. I was mad when Ginty made his decision with Mayu, but I wasn't necessarily like shipping them together. And I liked at the end, the cat was gone. Like if you notice, like after he made that decision, the cat left. Like the cat, it was almost as if the cat was mad at his decision and like ran off. Felt Chiyuki was motherly to Decim. Yes. Yeah, I agree, Pro. Throughout the entire series, it felt like Chiyuki was, because Decim was like, he was growing up throughout the series. He was like a little baby bird that finally like, erupted and blossomed and became like a full grown human by the end of it, right? I feel like that she was kind of motherly towards Decim, but at the end they were on equal levels by the end of it. And to me, episode 12 was like, it was love, like little baby bird Decim. I love it. Decim is so good. And what I love is that at the beginning of the series, he seems so emotionless and stoic. And you're kind of like, I don't know if I'll be able to connect with this character. And then by the end, when he's like crying and the world breaks apart, you're just like, oh, you just want to hug him. It's just like, oh. And he hugged everybody throughout the entire series. And at the end, he gets the hug. I was like, show. And I felt like that ending with them was so satisfying because I loved that it was just the two of them finally connecting. He got to make a judgment. And yes, we all need a Decim in our lives. Absolutely. With Quinn and Castra, I would say those are two characters. I didn't feel like Quinn's character I needed more of, but definitely Castra. I wanted more of Castra's character. I loved her design, her Cubone mask that she had on. I wanted more with Castra and kind of like what her role was. Because she wasn't an arbiter, but she was like assigning different souls to the arbiters. So I want to know more about her role. Go to the chat here. Oh, Maru, at what point or episode did you wish she would stay with Decim? Oh, I was around the time that Nona said that her contract was almost up. I was like, oh no. I was like, I want her to stay. Because at first I was like, oh, she's going to go. It's just going to be a thing. And then around the time that we had the death counter, around the time we had the two men that were both murderers up against each other, I was like, the moment she stopped at the very end and he still went through with it, I was like, you at that point, that she's going to leave, but you don't want her to. And I was like, oh no. So that was the time I wanted her to stay for sure. But yeah, her character design was so cool. I liked Quinn and I liked the idea of the people putting the memories together and they're just like gemstones. I thought that was really cool. Oh, do you have any theories as to why humans are dying so quickly in the living world? Well, here's the thing. I feel like there's a lot of ways you could look at it. I mean, one could be population. There's 7 billion people in the world. So the more people you have in the world, obviously, the more people are going to die at one time. I mean, there's that. Like, if you keep adding more to the mix, more is going to come out. So it's kind of like one of those situations. And then it could be just like the state of the world that it's in, which made me wonder if like part of it was Looking at you, Light. And Omaru, that could be it. That could be a connection to, it could be a connection to Death Note if we're going to connect it that way. It could be that someone has the Death Note and they're writing people off. But I think it's people in the world. So of course, more people in the world mean more people are dying. But then also that if the world is somewhat negative, then wars, suicide, things like that could be a case of it as well. I think Tony Sammy, I think that's just how it is in this world. But my thing was, I was wondering in Death Parade if part of the world building was that the arbiters were putting more people in the void than reincarnating to try to balance things out. I kept so that we don't have, because it seemed like everybody in Death Parade was overworked. It seemed like the afterlife was overworked. Like the memory people couldn't keep up. Castra, like there's glasses that are overflowing with wine every. It's like the cool thing in the world that she's in is that you see all these like glasses collecting all the drops, which I'm assuming are leak. They just put more glasses to catch the leak. To say whether or not that was the case, if Oculus was like, well, we need to just send more people to the void so we can fix the problem of the world being overpopulated. Quit letting people get reincarnated. Instead, let's just, because that's kind of thing. If you start out with 2 people, so to speak, and then those people, their kids are reincarnated and the reincarnation keeps coming, the people keep coming back, right? So I don't know. I was waiting for it, but again, the show likes to keep a lot of things ambiguous. So we can say that that's the case, but we're not sure. And that's kind of the fun part about it is they don't really give us a definitive answer. So I'll go with that. But yeah, I really like that theory. That was kind of my theory going in, because otherwise that would make sense why Oculus would want to make the games where, like Chiyuki noted, they were just making people aggressive rather than giving us an actual look into them. That's why when we have the ice skating ring, what's cool about it is it's not a game. It's a way for Chiyuki to access her memories and for her to remember things, but she's not competing against anybody, so there's no pressure. The memories come out on their own time, and it makes that moment where Decim can kind of connect with her all that much more organic. It was really cool. I like that. But I'll be honest, I was fully expecting Oculus to, like, when we got the name of the episode being Suicide Tour, I was like, oh, he's going to kill everybody. I thought it was going to be a big Shakespearean ending, right? Omaru, was it ever made clear if just after they die? It's outside of the concept of time. So one from the World War II could come after somebody from the modern world. That's a really good question. Yeah, I assumed it was 2 people that had died at the same time, because it seemed like everybody that showed up were either connected or from the same timeline. So, but I don't know if that's the case. I do agree that it's outside of the concept of time. So when they're reincarnated, I mean, who knows? Like they could be reincarnated like as a baby instantly in the same timeline as people that are their family. The husband and wife are a good example of that possibility, because they were kind of from around the time of World War II. So I don't know. That's a really good question, Omaru. Again, they don't make it clear. They're just like, here's things, figure it out. And you're like, okay, fine. Which I like that. I like that series like Link Click, series like Death Parade, they don't treat their audience as dumb. They know their audience is smart enough to fill in gaps and also smart enough to theorize and come up with ideas about what's going on. And I think that's really cool. So yeah. Let's see on here. Any other Nona, her character. I want to talk about her. I really liked her character. I like the idea that Nona was wanting to challenge Oculus. I would watch a whole series about Nona, to be honest. I'd watch a whole series building up like her character and how she came to be. And, she said she'd been an arbiter for 80 something years. I would love to see Nona's story of her rising up through the ranks to become like, how do you become a manager, right? Because we know that Quinn, she just got fed up and she just left and became somebody that handles the memories because she didn't want to judge people anymore. But I'm like, how do you get promoted? How do you rise up the ranks, right? What is this? I think there's an implication that the arbiters exist because the soul pipeline can only handle a single soul in a moment of time. So they have to make a decision. But this is another anime only benefit. Our own head canons can come into play. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, because it's anime only, we don't really have any, like, unless the authors come out and say like what their intention are, we can kind of include our own interpretation, and technically it's correct until we're proven otherwise or until our opinions are swayed elsewhere. But yeah, I really wanted to see more a slice of life comedy following Nona. If we had Nona and Clavis like in a prequel with Quinn, I want to see like Casca and or Castra and Quinn and Nona like just drinking, having picnics, Clavis being there, Oculus. It'd be great how the ranks work. There's a society similar to the real world. Yeah, I really, really like the idea that there's this other world, Tony Simi, that we don't know about. And I feel like the cool thing about it is that the creators kind of leave it so open-ended that if they wanted to later down the road make a sequel series, they could and pick up right where they left it. It's kind of like John Wick. If you've seen John Wick, it's the idea that there's like this other whole other underworld, and the sequels after the first movie kind of start to expand on that. I feel like they could very much do this. Death Parade, John Wick style. That's what I want. Was Death Parade only made because of the Death Billiards OVA because people liked it? Yeah, from what I know, from what I've been told by Truck and some others on Patreon, it was basically a collaborative effort, the OVA was, and then it got such a positive response, they decided to greenlight it and make it a series. It was like the Death Billiards was a pilot, and it worked really well, and so then they made the series out of it. What I love is the fact that it actually takes a lot of Death Billiards and incorporates it into it's just something random that's outside of the actual series. It feels like everything's connected. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. But yeah, I'm really happy that I watched Death Parade. It was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed it. I wish I could watch more of it. It just left me hungry for more. The multiverse could be real in Death Parade, infinite potential theories. Oh yeah. Like, and that's the thing too. Like, are we looking at people from alternate, like when they're reincarnated, do they go the same timeline? Is it a different timeline? What is it like? I mean, if you're comparing it with Death Note brings up the possibility, without spoiling anything, that there are different universes, it's like a multiverse thing. And so I feel like Death Parade, if you're going to go along with that, could kind of tie into that really, really well. But yeah, when I started watching Death Note, people were talking about Death Parade, and they were like, oh, you should watch it after Death Note. And I was like, I really want to. And I held off because of Bungo Stray Dogs, and then I finally got around to it, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm sorry, my throat is clogged. But yeah, I'm so excited that I did. I really, really enjoyed Death Parade. I was sad that it ended because it felt like you all have said, it felt like there was so much more they could expand upon, and it left me hungry for more. I wanted like another 12 episodes, right? Another cour of Death Note, a Death Parade, but no such luck at all. So, but I'm really happy with it. I feel like shipping wise, Decim and Chiyuki were my main ship always. The audio drama gave me like Nona and Clavis, so there's a ship now. And then a lot of people were shipping Ginty and Decim on Patreon, which I could see. They're like fire and ice, right? I think the Mayu and Ginty ship can work. If she's a teen, it's a little more problematic. Pro Pinkest, I'm sure you mentioned this on Discord. I have the special box set of Death Parade. The box is designed like the elevator and opens up in two halves like the elevator doors. Oh my God, really? I want that now. Oh my God, that's so freaking cool. What? That's so awesome. I want that. I have like, you can't see it. It's on the shelf over there, but I have the Death Note, the box set. I want this. That's so freaking cool. Yes. Please take a picture and show it in the Discord if you get a chance to. I would love to see that. Oh my gosh. Tony sent me, we'll just headcanon it that Mayu is a 20-year-old girl. We're just going to headcanon that she's not a teen. It's totally fine. She just likes idol groups. You can't stop me from thinking these things. That's so freaking cool, Pro. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. Yes, please. But yeah, I don't know what else to ask about Death Parade, y'all. I feel so sad because it was such a short series, but yet it was so good. I loved the themes of it, the themes of life and death, the themes of the importance of life. I feel like if I'm going to say one thing about episode 12, it is very much the most, like, if I'm going to like give someone a pro-life, anti-suicide PSA, episode 12 of Death Parade is the best example because it was so freaking sad for Chiyuki to realize what she lost by taking her life and realizing the moment that her life had purpose. and that these people around her cared about her and did love her. And it's just so sad. And I feel like that episode just made me be like, no, life is worth living. And the series as a whole is all about the importance of life and taking advantage of it and living it to the fullest. And I absolutely love it. I agree, Tony. There's so many questions left, but it also felt so satisfying and complete at the end that I couldn't complain. I was just like, I have things I want to say, but I'm glad the story goes on. And it feels like a metaphor for life itself. It feels like the entire series is a metaphor for life. Like you're here, you have this short time with these characters and this time in the story, and then life moves on. That's kind of the thing that's so beautiful and metaphorical about the end is that, yeah, there are a lot of questions that are left unanswered, but that's literally life. There are a lot of questions in life we never get answered, and life keeps moving on without us. That's kind of the insane thing about it. And it's just so bittersweet, right? But I agree, it was so haunting, so haunting. And maybe that's why they made reincarnation the good ending despite its flaws. Yeah, the idea that life keeps going, like you don't want it to just be emptiness and nothingness, because there's a chance that it could be good. And so you want to take the opportunity to take that chance for it to work out, right? I absolutely agree. Death note that I carry with me. Oh my gosh. I mean, Omaru, I still have my comment note right beside me from my death note reaction. So if I feel the need to like de-stress, I'm just like, all right, comment note. Let's do it, right? I love that. The anime is over, but we'll always be boogieing to flyers forever. Man, that OP is so freaking good. It is one of the most catchiest, boppiest OPs I've heard of on this channel. And I absolutely will not get over it. I will always be like, put your hands up. Yeah. I'm just like, and the ED is so good too. AJ, I agree. The ED is just so freaking great. The most misleading OP. That's why I love it so much. When I saw the OP, I was like, oh, this will be a happy, fun series. It'll be great. So yeah, I love it so much. So we've got a little bit of time. I probably want to end this at an hour and a half. So we got about 10 minutes left. If y'all have any questions about Death Parade left, I feel sad that not a lot of people have seen it. I feel like more people should see it if they get the chance to. It just, spoiling a Death Note. Oh my God. Oh no. You are, Omar, do not worry. You are not on my Death Note. Do not worry. I've wrote some names down. You are not one of them. So don't feel bad. It's totally fine. I do feel a lot better now since I've gotten moderators that help check the comment section. That makes me feel so much better. With like long series like Monster and Berserk that I'm watching, I feel like having the moderators there is so nice. And same thing with Attack on Titan. Because with those long series, it's hard not to spoil because you get so excited and you want to tell people, you want to tell the reactor about it. And you're like, oh, about this. And it's just like, I don't blame people for getting excited. Before I had this channel, I was all about reading the raws and getting in the discussion forums. I was that person. So I totally get it. Oh, you're not really a dub person, but the Death Parade dub is one of the best dubs I've heard. Oh, ooh, okay. You know what? That's really good, Pro, that you point that out because I was feeling a little blue, feeling a little sad that my journey with Death Parade is over, but I have not listened to the dub. I like dubs. I just want to know if they're good or not. Because I've listened to some bad dubs here's the thing. When an English dub is good, it's usually very good. Like the Death Note dub, amazing. The Skate the Infinity dub, wonderful. The Yuri on Ice dub, love it. But like with series like For Free, for example, I don't like the dub For Free. I don't think the voices match up as good as they could. And I'm like, oh no. I feel like when an English dub is bad, you're like, nope. It doesn't work. When it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But that is good to know that Death Parade's dub is fantastic. Nice. Thank you, Pro. I'm going to have something to look forward to now. I'm excited. I'm excited that my Death Parade journey is not ended. Everybody put your hands up. I'm just looking at the chat now. Yes, love it. So yeah, we got about 10 or so minutes left. Does anybody have any other questions about Death Parade or Tell us your thoughts if you check it out. Yeah, I definitely will go back to Patreon and the Discord. I'm going to keep the Death Parade channel, even though I'll move it to finished after this. I will definitely keep it up and let you all know. You know an English dub is good when even the not English native speakers acknowledge it. Yeah, that's the thing. When everybody was telling me about Death Note's dub being like, you should watch it, I was like, okay, and I did, and it was amazing. So that is good to know with Death Parade that it's on the same level. Definitely will check it. Pet is a great series that not many people have reacted to. Really? Okay. That's good, Tony Simi. I will put Pet on my list to consider. Absolutely. I feel like there's a lot of really good anime that's new out that people are really behind. But my thing about brand new anime is I don't want to react to too much because like, for example, when certain series, when they come out, have a lot of hype around them. And then as the series goes on, they lose hype and stuff like that. So I want to kind of wait usually till a series is out before I put it on my poll for like new ones, unless it's something like a new series of a series I've already watched. One of Diana's favorite series. Really? Pet is? Well, then I have to. I really like Diana Z's an awesome reactor. So I'm going to have to put Pet on my list then. That is so cool to know. I definitely, that's a strong recommendation. Mm-hmm. The dub is great. Good to know. I'm glad to know. Yes, I will definitely, with the dub of Death Parade, I will keep the Death Parade channel up on the Discord. And so as I'm watching the dub, I will likely be like, yes, this is amazing, and come with you all with my praises as we go. Cool. I didn't know she did reactions to Pet. Well, I mean, she's a reactor, so of course she would. So cool. Nice. I will definitely have to look at Pet and put it on my really nice. You guys are giving me some solid recommendations for it. I'm going to put it on my list. Mm-hmm. And let me ask you all this. I'm not usually a spoiler person, and I don't like spoilers, but what genre would you describe Pet as? I'm going to say it's probably romance or BL or something like that. Just like what genre you think Pet is, so I know kind of where to put it. Psychological. Ooh, what? Oh, well, now you've really sold me. If it's a psychological show. Oh, okay. Psychological thriller. Hell yes. I'm going to add it. We'll get on here right now and add it to my list. Add it to my list of things on as far as this goes. Would you say it was like detective? Would you think it was like a detective or crime or mystery show? Would you think that it would be one of those by chance? Would it fall into that category? Asking for spoilers. Yeah, no. I'm just wanting to know genres. Nothing about it. Nothing like that, just ideas. What is it? Let me get back to the chat here. That glass you're drinking from looks like the ones we have, just taller. Yes, my aunt gave me a set when I moved into my home. My aunt gave me these like glasses. They're really cute. I love collecting glass, like old antique glass, like blue glass and stuff like this. So I love stuff like this. It's my little antique old lady thing. But cool. Talking about psychological thrillers with my brother. We both loved. Oh, thank you. Neon Genesis is fun times. Would you ever watch Serial Experiments Lane? Yes, I have the intention of doing like a psychological thriller poll this fall when we get through with some of these series. And I would definitely love to see Serial Experiments Lane in that poll. So yes, it's going to be on a future poll for sure because I've heard really, really good things. But I may have to add Pet to the poll too. Make it fun, make it exciting. I'm excited about that. So it has detective things. If it has detective things, we can call it that. We can make it work. Fits the genre. So yes, Serial Experiments Lane. I would love to have it in a future poll. Definitely would like to. So that is on the chopping block for sure. I feel like there's a lot of psychological thriller shows that have been recommended that I need to include and do. So that would be awesome. Yep. At least after Monster, so your brain doesn't explode. That's the thing. Monster's such a long series, and I know once it's over, it's gonna be hard to top it. So I'm gonna need some good ones. Has some psychic shenanigans. Oh, don't give me any Killer Queen. No spoilers, please. No spoilers. Psychological. Don't tell me people are psychics or not. No. to spoiler jail with you. No. Get out. Yeah, no more. Yeah, this is my thing. This is my thing. If I know too much about a series, I'm not going to react to it. That is my hardcore rule. Like if I know too much about a series, I'm like, nope, don't need to watch it. Yep, I'm back in character again. Yeah. I don't feel like knowing a genre is a spoiler because that's just a genre. It's just knowing if something's a romance or an action or a drama. But the moment you start telling me plot elements, I'm like, well, nope, it's off the polls. I'm not watching it. So no more. You make me hesitate now. That's like, I'm like, if you tell me too much, I won't want to watch it. Yep. Yeah, this is my thing, AJ. I have a really good memory. I have a great memory. So when people tell me stuff, they're like, oh, just forget it. And I'm like, it will never be forgotten. So yeah. So hopefully nobody gives me anything else because otherwise I'm not going to put it on the polls. That's just how I roll. Yep. I want to be blind and I'm not going to watch something if I know what I'm going into too much. The Count of Monte Cristo, I have heard that is a really good anime. So, and I know Semblance of Sanity, that the SOS Brothers, they did a reaction to it a long time ago. As an English teacher, yes, I feel bad. I guess it's a good thing. I've not read Monte Cristo because I've not read Count of Monte Cristo, something that came up in my English classes through high school and college. So I feel like it would be cool back to that anime series because I wouldn't know the actual novel. It would be fun to analyze and kind of come at it from that angle. It'd be kind of fun in that regard. But yeah, I don't mind putting, and here's my thing. I don't mind putting like unheard gems onto polls. I think it's cool to react to something that not a lot of people have reacted to. I think that's fun. Just ask that people don't tell me anything about it. Let me be blind. Right. But yeah, because I had no clue what pet was at all until y'all brought it up. But now I'm curious. I'm intrigued. I'll probably try to put it on a poll in the future and see if it makes it or not. So we'll see. But yeah, any other questions or comments for the live stream? I'm back in character now. Absolutely. I really am glad to talk about Death Parade though. I wanted to talk about it with everybody and just kind of be like, now that I know that the dub is a thing, I definitely am going to want to watch the dub and go into the comment section about it and do that. So I'm pretty excited, but I thank you all for coming to the chat and talking with me about not only Death Parade, but about anime onlys, about Yuri on Ice, letting me rant. I wanted to rant about somebody. Oh, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you rate Death Parade? Ooh, I mean, here's my thing. On my anime list, I give things really high ratings because I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean. So I think I give it like a 9 on my anime list. I would say it's probably between 8 and 9. I would say probably between 8 and 9. A 10 I reserve for like my favorites. Like if it's really good, I'm going to give it a 10. Like if it's a solid show. But yeah, I would say Killer Queen, I'm with you. 8.5. I would say, and I think it's only that low because it's so short. I think so. I think that as a whole, it's such a solid show. And I would encourage people to watch it and rank it high. I think they will if they watch it. But yeah, Tony, I'm glad I'm not the only one because I'm like, I rank everything so high. And I'm like, and here's the thing, y'all on this channel have given me only good things to watch so far. I haven't watched garbage. So everything's been high ranking because I'm like, I really enjoyed it. So, I mean, my 10s are reserved for my favorites of all favorites. But usually things will get an 8 or a 9 because y'all have given me like really good shows to watch. You've not recommended trash. So thank you. Oh, I know. Watch an anime with an only female protagonist. I know, right? I feel like there are some anime. I feel like, Yona of the Dawn was like such a good show. And I loved it because it had a female protagonist to it too. And I love the manga even more. But I am excited to get back, hopefully, into some series with some female protagonists. We need it. I need to watch some series with female protagonists. So hopefully we get this fall. There's a lot of series that are going to be concluding this fall. It feels like we do a big cycle and a rotation. And there's a lot of series that are going to be wrapping up this fall. And so, person, that's so cruel. No, I do like shoujos. Banana Fish is a shoujo. I don't call it trash. But yeah, I really, really like it. So I'm really, really excited to get into some new shows this fall after we round up some ones or catch up to some. So that's going to be really exciting. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Omaru. Daya is one of my favorites. That's my favorite sports anime is Ace of the Diamond. We're doing polls right now in the Discord to replace Kuroko's basketball that's going to be ending this fall, like early this fall. So I know Huckleberry made an appearance. You guys don't see it, but there is two dogs at my feet right now that are ready for lunch. So that's why I'm kind of like, okay. Oh, Chihaya Furu, if I can say it right, is a shoujo. So that's exciting. Bungo Stray Dogs season 5. I know I'm so excited to start that back up. It's so exciting. When will I do movie reactions again? I haven't done a lot of movies. Usually I've been waiting on those for like the sub goals. And so I told someone back in the chat with the last live stream we did that if I got to 8,000 subs on YouTube, I would it's a Western series, Over the Garden Wall. It's like Over the Garden Wall. It's like a series of short episodes, but together it's like 90 minutes. So I told them if I got to 8,000, I would do that one. I would react to Over the Garden Wall. And then I figured I would just make movies are usually my sub goals. So if I get like 9,000 subs, 10,000 subs, I'll do movies as well. I've heard Lovely Complex is good. So I would want to include that in a poll. I want to do a romance poll as well. Like I want to do a music poll. I want to do a romance poll. I want to do a psychological thriller poll, retro poll, the second places from polls. I want to do a Miyano Mamoru poll of his voice acting for a series that he's been in. So I have lots of ideas, right? I want to do lots of polls this fall, hopefully. We've had glimpses of little gremlins. Oh my God, a trash poll. I mean, Devilesque. I'm not opposed to it. I might do an isekai poll. And just dive into some trashy isekai. Why not? Something short, maybe. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Would I read the manga content? Here's my thing with the Bungo Stray Dogs live stream. I will probably not do a Bungo Stray Dogs live stream until it's all over, but I am definitely going to do a manga reaction after season 5 and do like what I did with season 4 and do a manga reaction for it for sure. I definitely want to do that. Toradora is pretty shonen. Okay. But yeah, and I know, AJ, you're here for the psychological, the retro, and the sports. Those are some of my favorites, so why not? I'm still alive by then. I hope you are too. I hope you are as well, right? I feel like I would like to do some more shorter anime to get more out there and to see more, but we'll see when we get there. I know I'm watching some really long anime right now, but we're about to wrap up some series, and we'll definitely have some room for new shows, so that's pretty exciting. Yay. So I've really enjoyed this stream with you all. It's been a lot of fun. I'm sorry I have to cut it short. The gremlins beneath my feet are just like ready for the food. But I'm so excited. Thank you all so much for being kind and for being supportive. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be doing one more live stream for a while, and then it'll probably be the last live stream we have for a bit. I'm going to do one for Millionaire Detective. Millionaire Detective will probably end around mid-August. And so about mid-August, I'll be doing a live stream for Millionaire Detective and to kind of talk about fall shows and what's coming up. And probably by that point, by the time I get to Millionaire Detective stream, I'll have an idea of what polls I want to do for the fall, so we can talk about that. That'll be a lot of fun. But I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with y'all. I'm glad you guys could come. I'm glad we could trash talk and talk about anime onlys and Death Parade. It was so good. But now, Pro, you have me wanting to go watch the dub. So I may have found what I'm going to be doing the next couple of weeks. I'm almost caught up with the show that I was watching. So now I'm like, what am I going to watch now? So the English dub for Death Parade sounds like a winner. But it was nice talking to you too, AJ. Thank you guys so much. Love and peace. It is Trigun Tuesday. So love and peace. Absolutely. I'm just going to end every live stream now with love and peace. That's how I'm going to do it. Love it. So I hope you guys have a great day and have a wonderful week. Thank you guys so much for joining. And everybody put your hands up. And I'll see you all with the next live stream and with more reactions. So bye, guys. Much love. See y'all.